If you play Football Manager anything like I do, then you know that the most important aspect of a game is holding those South American teenagers and developing them into world beaters while looking into their beautiful regen faces. But you also probably know that feeling when they turn out to be, well, just kinda shit. So I'm interested in finding out what actually impacts player growth and how to best identify a potential wonder kid. One of the stats that I've seen people pay a lot of attention to was determination. The game defines determination as the player's commitment to succeed and do his very best on and off the pitch. From this, it's a pretty logical conclusion that determination will impact player growth, with a high determination stat meaning that a player is more likely to hit their potential ability. We can look at some real examples of this, but both Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo have 20 determination in game, and I guess it's fair to say that they've been alright. You can compare this to other players like Adnan Januzaj, Mario Balotelli, and Alexander Pardo, who I think it's fair to say are playing below where we thought their potential ceiling was. And if you look at these guys' determinations, it's actually significantly lower. This stat is taken seriously in Football Manager. I've seen some scouting guides recommend just filtering out all players below a certain determination value. As such, I wanted to answer the question, how much does determination affect player growth? I'm hypothesizing that a high determination stat will positively impact player ability in comparison to a low determination stat. It's worth noting that this experiment has been done on YouTube before, but most of the ones I've seen have some pretty serious design flaws, namely the sample size. One video I saw literally just had one player with high determination and one with low and try to compare the two, which you can't really draw valid conclusions from. I've spent way too long at uni studying science degrees, so hopefully I should be able to make a decently designed experiment to properly analyse its effect. I'm going to go fairly into detail on my methods here, so if you just want to skip ahead and see the results of the conclusions, I'm going to put timestamps in the description. So I started by trying to control as many factors as I possibly could. I went into the editor and made a league called the Testing Ground in Andorra, where I generated 20 identical teams. I used Inter as the base of these teams and changed our youth coaching and facilities to 20 to provide the best opportunity for our players to grow. I also wiped all of the players and staff from these teams since it's not so easy to just duplicate the entire squads across, from what I can tell by using the editor. These are just automatically generated, filled in by the clubs during the game, and from what I can tell, they're usually of quite similar levels. Each team was then given one 200 potential ability 18-year-old subject, who are identical to each other team's subjects, but for one stat: determination. Each subject was randomly assigned a determination value of either 20, 15, 10, 5, and 1. I gave the subjects 12 and pretty much every other stat, which gave them a current ability of 123. This is around the same current ability as, say, Mason Greenwood, Ansu Fati, and Takefusa Kubo, so we're in some quality wonder kid territory. I made these players Czechoslovakian, as this is now an inactive nation, and when I declared them for this nation and gave them one international cap, so they wouldn't play any more international minutes, as different amounts of this may impact growth. I also arranged a future transfer to Barcelona in 2035, so PSG and Man City would stop poaching them, and I think that 48-year-old Messi might need some extra help by then. From there, I simply loaded up the game with only my Andorran testing ground loaded and started generating away. I stopped each year on the 1st of July to record the current ability and went through 8 seasons worth of growth. I tested this once or twice and the players did grow slightly after their 8th season, but the growth was minimal and the patterns of who became good and who didn't had already emerged. I did this 9 times, 3 times for the players at striker, 3 at centre mid, and 3 at centre back. This replication gave us a sample size of 180 players, which I think is more than enough to get some interesting results. So all my data is here in this chunky little spreadsheet. This column on the right, which is our highest current ability recorded, is what we're going to use for the analysis. When you group them by the determinations, you get a table looking like this, or an easier to look at graph like this. What we can see here is a pattern that we expected from the start, with the higher determination values leading to a slightly higher peak in ability compared to the lower determination values. What did surprise me is how close these groups are, with each determination group only being about 1 to 2 peak ability higher than the next group. To see if this is a significant difference, I ran a single factor ANOVA on the data. I haven't done my first year stats for a while, but I think this is the correct analysis. If it's not, just let me know. What we're looking for is this p-value highlighted in green. As this value is lower than 0.05, this means that there is a significant difference between the groups. As such, we can relatively confidently conclude that determination does impact the growth of players. However, I want to make this clear that high determination doesn't necessarily make a high peak a certain thing, and that there is some variance within the groups. If we look at this frequency histogram, you can see that even the lower determination values had some players reach very high peak ability, while the high determination values had some players on the lower end of ability in this test. For example, let's have a look at the last run I did. Subject Romeo only had 5 determination, ended up with the second highest peak ability at 196. Romeo comfortably beat the 15 determination subjects Juliet, Tango, and Gareth Bale, who all peaked in the 170s. As you can see here, the determination values did drift a little from the starting value, but this is natural in Football Manager, as all values grow and change. This is more designed around how we would see determination from the scouting report of a player at a young age, so I think it's fine that they did change throughout the experiment. They usually did stay within, 2 to 3 determination of their starting value as well. I think some of this variance could be explained due to a few factors. One of the biggest is injuries. If you have a look at subject Julia here, they had 2 major injuries in their first season, and we ended up having the lowest ability at the end of season 1 of this run. Another factor I can think of is difference in coaching staff, as this is likely to impact the growth of a player. However, both of these factors would have required a lot of hours to make sure they remained fully consistent. And as these were both completely random across a very large sample size, I'm confident that the results we have are unbiased and valid. It's also worth noting that even with a low determination value, the lowest peak ability a player reached was 164. Players with 1 determination still averaged 178 in their peak ability, which for reference is above Harry Kane, Robert Lewandowski, and Karim Benzema in Football Manager 2020. There's actually only 11 players in this game above 178. Now, your Wonder Kids probably won't have 200 potential like these subjects do, but it's not like they won't even get remotely close to their potential ability with poor determination. With all of that in mind, this is what I think you should take away from this video. Determination appears to have a positive impact on player growth over time. High determination players consistently reach closer to their potential ability as opposed to low determination players. However, low determination players still also reached high levels, and the gap between low and high determination abilities seemed closer than I originally expected. When you're doing your scouting, pay attention to determination, but it's not a be-all and end-all value. If you see a great Wonder Kid with low determination, I would still recommend signing him and just trying to mentor him into better determination. That's about it for this video. If you have any feedback or criticism, I'd love to hear it. Also, suggestions for future videos would be greatly appreciated. I'm thinking about looking at the effects of playing time and coaching have on development at the moment, but I'm also open to other ideas. Cheers for watching.